Hey everyone, James Niggemeyer here. Thank you for tuning back into the YouTube channel. Wanted to discuss something about rod size selection that has really changed over, say, the last 10 to 15 years. There's a segment of the rod market as far as the length that they offer that's kind of left out, that nobody really talks about. It's something that is, I think, can be really important in the way that you fish a couple of particular presentations, and I think it really is important in the springtime when presentation is probably one of the bigger factors outside of location in whether or not you get a bite. And the particular rod size selection that I'm talking about is a 6'6". If you look at a lot of the different rod offerings, and even Phoenix Rods is like this, which is the company that I'm affiliated with, the majority or the bulk of what they offer, and some of them don't even offer anything below 7 feet. The one here that I have in my hand is the Phoenix Ultra MBX Classic, and it is offered in a 6'6", medium and medium heavy. And let me tell you why I think it's important that you have a 6'6", or something a little shorter, say 6'10", 6'8", something shorter than 7 feet, for baits like a spinnerbait or a chatterbait. It's amazing how much more accurate you can be skipping under a dock, throwing a spinnerbait in and around, say, cypress trees, stumps, stick-ups, or throwing a chatterbait around those types of areas with a shorter length rod. I feel like you just maximize the efficiency, the productivity, and the pinpoint accuracy that you don't have as much with, say, 7.3, 7.4 and longer rods. Now, the drawback with a shorter rod is, of course, the fact that you don't have the distance that you have. Of course, you amplify the distance, the ability to deliver and present a bait at a greater distance with a longer rod that you don't get with a shorter rod. But something you just don't see people talk a lot about. I feel like it's kind of a lost art, or something most people don't even really talk about. Even in spinning rods sizes have began to really go longer and longer. I've got friends that they don't really throw spinning rods if they're not 7'4" or longer, 7'6" even. And for me, I like 7'2" to 7'4", and I even have 7-foot spinning rods, again, more for the accuracy standpoint of things. But I challenge you to consider downsizing your rod length and looking at something like shorter than 7 feet, say 6'6", 6'8", 6'10", something like that, for presenting baits like a spinnerbait, a chatterbait, even a buzzbait, around targets, pinpoint accuracy, sniper type fishing at close range. Specifically in the springtime, because a lot of times what you have is bass that are around shallow targets in that cover that aren't willing to go a great distance to get a bait. Even if you're fishing your Senko type baits or pitching a plastic, a lot of times getting it right up against the stump, right up against the base of buckbrush, right around that dock post, the retaining wall, you name it, it's got to go. You got to present it there, let it settle to the bottom, and then a lot of times you can't even move it fast. You got to give that bass a chance to kind of investigate it, check it out before it'll even come and bite it. So think about your shorter rod lengths this springtime. I challenge you to give it a shot if you're a guy that really likes those longer rods, and I do too. I have 7'6" to 8-foot rods for everything from flipping to swim baits and different things like that. But I like to keep my fishing simple, but there are times when going to a shorter rod will get you more bites. And also I would consider going to a slower gear ratio as well, say a 6'8". I basically run two different size gear ratios because I run the Johnny Morris Platinum Signature Series Bass Pro Shops reels. And when it comes to these reels, you can get them in a 6'8" or an 8'3". And I probably use the 8'3" the most, and I'm more cognizant about how much I turn my handle. But having a lower gear ratio like a 6'8", again, it's about keeping that bait in the strike zone closer to the proximity where you think a fish is, either slowing it up the presentation or even in a moving bait type situation, you're getting some more hang time. You're letting it stay there a little bit longer or coming over their heads before it's just kind of away from the area that they would consider even getting the bait, that strike zone, if you will. This is a video that I wanted to do because I just got this rod in, this 6.6, and I've been looking at that for a while, that part of my fishing. A 7-footer is a good length for a lot of those things I mentioned, but getting a smaller rod even will still give you a greater amount of accuracy, greater amount of bait placement, and just make you more efficient, specifically when you're fishing those targets. Thanks for tuning into the YouTube channel. Hope you got something out of it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do that. Also, check out my merch, Team Niggemeyer Fishing. I've got hoodies, hats, shirts, and decals. It's really one of the better ways that you can support the channel. Until next time, thanks for watching and good fishing.